long
need
time.
to have a soundboard of Mendoza to like that god awful noise that the Chinese horned goose
God,
makes.
can we pull that in before we start so every time we mention the song Mendoza, we can just have the...
I could also just do it post.
Yes, you could
Oh,
do
yeah,
it.
you post.
Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Record Breakers. I am Peter Rick, your man with no plan. Here with me is my team, my squad roll out. We got Brett.
Hey, hey, hey.
We got Drew.
Hey, what's going on?
And we got Patrick.
Hola, bitches.
We're talking about music as we do every week, and the provider of the music this week is none other than Drew. Drew, what do you got for us this week?
Well, this is a band, one of the only good things to come out of Michigan, in my opinion. Band from Grand Rapids, known as Mustard Plug. I'm bringing one of my favorites from them, their third album, Evildoers, Beware.
Mm-hmm. Some ska goodness going down on this tip. Patrick, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
I had not actually listened to Mustard Plug, but I know they're Third-Wave Ska in the sort of Third-Wave Ska-ness. But beyond that, I know I have some friends who enjoy them, Drew being one of them. So I figured I got Third-Wave Ska, I might be okay.
Mm-hmm. Brett, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
Well, I know ska. I'm friends with ska. This is ska. But I had not had any. I had Mustard Plug as the scattered shot things that I happened upon. Going from one friend's computer full of pirated music to another back in the period that this album came out. So I didn't have a whole lot of direct Mustard Plug in my life. If I did, it probably would be in the rotation. I just was not full of money and able to pay $20 for a compact disc. So I didn't get any Mustard Plug until today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's get down to it. Drew, what are some of the themes and elements that you would say make this album tick?
Well, to me, Mustard Plug in general is really cool because, like the last band we went over, Toadies, they're not trying to reinvent or reinject anything into Third Wave. They're a Third Wave ska punk band. That is what they are. And they're one of those bands that, yeah, some of their songs on the lyrical side tend to go into, like, very pointed messages at times. But it never steers away from being about the main thing. And that's, they made the band, they do music because they want to have fun. A lot of ska guitar, obviously. The horns blare, they're not super intricate. And then there's just really good, solid bass work underneath all of that. And that to me is just all of what Mustard Plug is. The thing with this album was, since it was the third album, they kind of got, they're sort of dialing in their sound at that point. They've kind of got what they like to do, they got what they do well, and this sort of shows it. And it has a good amount of the fan favorites, I would say, on the record. And that to me is really cool. And some of those fan favorites are ones that, like I said, push that double-sided thing of it's about the fun first and foremost, but it's also about something that's a little more than that underneath it if you're willing to look for it.
Mm-hmm. Patrick, what would be some of the themes and elements that caught your attention?
I think I'm burning out on Third-Wave Ska. It's generally something I enjoy, but I find myself now the things I enjoy of third wave are bands I've either been listening to forever or bands who do third wave plus something else. Like, say, Deal's Gone Bad, where they kind of have, you know, their whole sort of like heavy on the soul thing, or like Westbound Train, where they got sort of their own vibe going that we, you know, talked about before. And
don't you by omission badmouth the Aquabats?
I don't know. No.
Dare you?
The Aquabats have weird. No, but they have weird. They take ska and they add like 8 scoops of weird in the sort of, you know, they might be giant sense where everything's a little bit absurd, and that's what makes them interesting. Mustard Plug are just, they're another, you know, band that sounds a lot like Real Big Fish, maybe with a touch more punk, and they're not bad at it. They can play, but I think I'm right on the edge of over it, and I hate to say it.
Brett, what would be the themes and elements that caught your attention?
This album has ska whimsy. That's a variety of whimsy. You know, you got to have like the not actually how you would sing-songy song voice, and the like the topics that mostly I assume that when you're in a ska band, you write songs about inside jokes that nobody gets ever. And I think that there's some of that going on in here. But you know, like that's fine. I'm down with that. You know, I don't expect to hear Mustard Plug singing about a cat with 2 heads. But I also don't think that they're on the other side where they're being super serious about anything. I enjoyed more than that. The guitar work was like, you know, it was admirable. It had, you know, the jangle that you look for, but there were some drums in this album. There was some crazy fills. There was some like really good cymbal work. Like there were some things that I don't normally hear in a ska album, like in my, you know, limited amount of ska listening that I've done since I was able to pick out a drum beat very well. But there was there's definitely gold in them there hills if you're looking for technical skill. But there's some catchy tracks. They did a really good job of making some really good hooks and tying a lot of things together that I wasn't really expecting out of a band called Mustard Plug from Michigan. You know, yeah. I've been to Grand Rapids. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny because the main thing I knew of Mustard Plug was that I found I think somebody had a T-shirt at a Big D and the Kids Table show I went to a while back, and people kept talking about it, and I was like, oh, that's a band, and then it was a name I knew around places, but I hadn't heard of. But yeah, this was a fun record, and a lot of that cool like guitar work and the drum work, like Brett said. Drew, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
To me, I could go down a lot of them, and there's a lot of ones on this one that are really like crowd favorites. It's, if you're one of the rude boys in the scene, you sort of know these songs, and it's like a box. We'll do that. It's an easy crowd pleaser. It's the sort of the punk rock underpinning anthem of we live our lives defined by where we are, where we work, what we do, where we live. And it's like, why do we have to define ourselves by that? Why are we looking at that? And it's over this just awesome song, which I think is awesome, which is great. You is one of my favorite songs that Mustard Plug does, and actually the specific reason why I did Evildoers Beware as opposed to like Pray for Mojo. The bass work in that is why I still gravitate towards ska. There's everything on the surface is very, very simple. It's simple guitar work. The horn line isn't super intricate, but it's there and it's good. And there's good drum work. But if you listen for the bass work in this, there's the simple root notes, and then all of a sudden, with the drum fill, he'll fill in underneath with the bass work with it. And I think that's really, really cool. Craig DeYoung was the bassist on that, and he's sort of did that for this one and Pray for Mojo, where it's like, it'll start with a simple bass line, and then all of a sudden he'll start like riffing underneath, if you listen for it, and it's just really, really cool to me. I have to mention Mendoza for the TMS fans that we have in the audience. if those folks know out there. Horns blare out a little bit, and it's just sort of that.
So,
it's
of course
that
the horns
sound of
blare
ska
out.
from the horns. Of course, with Mendoza, you have to have that. But then you also get the alternating vocals between Dave and Colin, which I think they do really, really well. And then, of course, you end with Beer Song. Every ska record I bring always has a song about drugs or beer, which is weird. But, hey,
kind of happens.
it is what it is.
It is what it is. It be what it is. They don't think it be like how it is, but it do.
But it do.
Patrick, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
So I didn't dislike all of this record, as my sort of beginning said. The opening song "Box" is pretty good. The recording here and the mixing really allowed you to pick an instrument and you can follow that instrument the whole way through the song. And I like when bands do that, basically because I like listening to drums and bass, both of which were done well here. Some of the bass lines were really good, but often a little too buried in the mix. Dressed Up, one towards the end of the album, actually was just sort of a song where the bass got to be like the star instrument, and I love a song like that. And anytime you put the bass out front, I'm immediately more interested in it. And Mendoza's fun. Mendoza, the dueling vocals are something I always enjoy, and they have two very, very, very different voices. Where they both sort of have more of a punk edge than a lot of third wave bands, where most third wave bands had more of a traditional singer, whereas this was more on the vocals, touch of Op Ivy to them, which isn't bad because I do enjoy Op Ivy, where it's not necessarily sung in a really pretty way, but it works for the music and it gives it an attitude. So Mendoza had that and the whole bouncing back and forth, and there was a great sax solo in the middle. And it was a fun song.
Mm-hmm. It's a fun song. Mendoza. Brett, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
I really enjoyed Box. Again, for the drums that didn't sound like ska drums. It was definitely, it opened up like the first little bit. I was like, what am I getting into? Is this like some crazy weird, like we're going to try and this is going to be our hard album? And we're like, okay, there we go. Here's some horns. There's some ska. There's some upstroke. I enjoyed that a lot. Mendoza, I got a whole lot of Powdered Milk Man out of that. The vibe of there's a certain kind of ska song that I don't know exactly what to call it, but it's the Powdered Milk Man. And the song that probably is going to stick with me the most as a memorable, which I don't know why, but there's something earwormy about it, was Miss Michigan. That song, like, it's like, that kept going every time I'd loop through it. I'd be like, really? This is the song I'm gonna like latch onto? But yeah, it is. I really enjoyed a lot of songs on this, but really to sum it up, you can't go wrong if you start at the very beginning. It ends up with, the beer song at the end is very ska albumy. It's got everything that you want, and nothing that you're not longing for something if you're looking for a straight up ska album that's not got a whole lot of weird or too much serious.
Yes. It is a fun ska album, and with those songs and like Box was fantastic. Mendoza is just memorable because you gotta get Mendoza. But yeah, let's go back around the horn. Patrick, what would be your conclusive thoughts about the album overall?
I assume Drew has seen these guys live probably 11 times. And I would assume this is a band that kills live. Like, that's what they seem like, is a band you want to be in the pit for. As an album, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a third wave ska album. It does that in a predictable way. It's well executed. It didn't click with me. But like I said, I'd see them live tomorrow because I think they'd be a blast.
They are a great live set, but you do run the risk. And this is what happened one time. We opened for them at Peabody's, and when they took the stage, Dave was either so drunk or so high, I couldn't tell. But he was drunk or high enough to forget all of the lyrics to the first 5 songs of the set. So Colin, the backup singer, had to sing all of them. So
That's
they're
always
fun,
fun.
but it's a risk.
It's a
It's a
risk.
risk you have to take.
Brett, what would be your conclusive thoughts about the album overall?
Well, if you're down with the formula, if you're into this kind of ska, it might just toot your horn. Tip your waitress.
But yeah, it is a kind of a, you know, but it does have that by the numbers feel, but yeah, it's just fantastically fun. Mustard Plug is just fantastically fun. And you get that third wave ska fix if you're jonesing for it. But if you don't happen to be jonesing for it, I guess I can see how you can experience third wave ska fatigue.
You don't go into ska without expecting to get ska, and if you're going into this album and you're like, I want to get some ska, this is it. This is it's not quite vanilla ska, but it is regular. It's ska classic.
The regular Coke of ska, and what I really want is cherry Coke. I want 3 drops of something else on top of it.
You want to be
if
able
you
to
like
go,
Coke,
go up to
if you like classic Coca-Cola, Mustard Plug delivers the classic Coca-Cola.
And that's the thing that I feel like was really cool. Like, because I sort of wanted to do a Mustard Plug album at some point, and it's really kind of cool that it came after the Toadies, because as Brett said, the Toadies did a thing and they were the go over, and it's sort of, it wasn't trying too hard one way or the other. And that's, to me, what Mustard Plug was. They're not trying too hard one way or the other. They're not doing anything. They are upfront about, we just want to have fun, and we want to have a party, and we want to constantly have a good time.
So
from now until we stop doing this. So.
Yeah, so Drew, what else could you say conclusively about the album overall?
That to me is, like, y'all said it really good. This is a third wave ska album. You're not going to get the weirdness that you get from the Aquabats. You're not going to get the Motown you get with the Old Scumbag. You're not going to get the soul that you get with Westbound Train. What you're going to get is, if you want a slice right in the middle of what third wave ska is, to me, Mustard Plug is that band. They're not on the high end, they're not on the low end, they're not super poppy. It's like concentrated third wave ska. And that to me is a lot of fun. The album's great fun to listen to, and it always takes me back to those, like Swagger said, the live shows. The live shows are so fantastic. So.
Third wave ska from Concentrate. Just add water. But yeah, Mustard Plug, fantasticness. Those are our thoughts. Now we get to the main event of the evening. We get to what we've all been waiting for. We get to our haiku reviews. Let's start with Brett. Brett, what is your haiku?
Horns toot verily. Hup, pick it up. Drums that don't let me down.
Don't let me down. Patrick, what is your haiku?
More from the third wave, but I think I'm over it. Lacks something unique.
Mm-hmm. I've got my haiku. Ska punky goodness, delivered with much gusto, must catch Mendoza. Drew, what is your haiku?
Third wave royalty that always gets the rude boys up and moving feet.
I agree. And those were our thoughts on Mustard Plug. You can listen along to with us. You can listen along with us by playing Record Breakers the home game with our Spotify playlist. We try to curate it as diligently as possible. Let us know where else we can curate a playlist, or try to find, make your own. Do your own homework, gosh darn it. But on that Spotify playlist, which will be our guests album, which we don't know. Hey, just jumping in here to let y'all know that next week's episode is going to be with special guest Josh Hilp. Yes, we got Hilp on a podcast. Yay. His album is going to be the Beatbox's Future Loops. It's going to be some live beatboxing, looping covers. So that's going to make for a very fascinating discussion. So stay tuned for that. Now back to the episode. But that's it. You can find us all over the internet. Patrick is at The Swagger. Brett is at HibbityBibbard, HIBBITYBIBBARD. Drew is at Drucifer. I'm at PD Rave. The show is at 4 Record Breakers. That's the number 4 Record Breakers. RecordBreakersPodcast.com, RecordBreakersPodcast@gmail.com, iTunes, Stitcher, all the places. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
Toodaloo.